So happy to have on Glenn Thames, Director of Small Business Innovation Group, CT Innovations, you do it all, CT Next. Let's describe what it is that you do for small business in the state of Connecticut, and we need you, hurry.
Sure, so I work for Connecticut Innovations, which is the venture arm of the state. So essentially our mission is to invest in early stage companies in the high-tech space. And what I do specifically is I oversee our small business innovation group, which really focuses on innovation programming and ecosystem building mechanisms to really support businesses strategically so they can start, grow, and thrive in our state.
There's a lot of big words in there. Yeah. Just to boil this down, what is the state of Connecticut starting to incubate, make, that maybe people don't know about? Because we're a cool state of about 3 million and we're doing lots of stuff.
Absolutely.
What are some of the things that we're innovating in this state?
Right, so with Connecticut Innovations, our portfolio is, as part of the companies that we actually invest in, it's about majority bioscience and IT. So there's a lot of different companies that run the gamut of R&D companies that are coming out with really cool drugs that are going to have impact on patients in the future, as far as diabetes or what have you. And then we have medical devices as well. And then in the IT space, we have some ed tech companies that are providing services in the educational space. We also have B2B business companies that are providing software platforms for businesses to make their processes more efficient in developing software platforms.
With a state 200 million in the red, maybe 500 million next year. Layoffs are coming. We have really high property taxes in the state. People are jumping out of the state of Connecticut. How do we keep them here? Is this one way to do it, to say, hey, look, we lost GE and we don't want to lose any more, so we're building from the ground up. Is that the idea?
Absolutely. I mean, with every big company, you know, you're gonna gain some, you're gonna lose some. They all plan 5 to 10 years out, but what we can do as a state is ensure that we're making investments so that we're successful in the future. And that's a part of the reason why in 2011, Governor Malloy basically gave CI $125 million to double our investments in startups in the technology space so we can grow jobs and grow the economy and grow small businesses in the state, and also do a lot of different programs across the state that build out that ecosystem, that entrepreneur ecosystem that we really need to connect people. So through CT Next, that's kind of the umbrella of the innovation ecosystem. It's been branded as that. We've made investments in the Grove in New Haven, Reset in Hartford, which is a social impact accelerator. The Stanford Innovation Center, the refinery in Westport, which is a accelerator. So these are all organizations that we've helped to seed and catalyze that community of entrepreneurs.
What are some of the widgets, if you will, that are coming out of, let's say, the Grove, which is a shared workspace where minds are coming together and they're thinking about, gee, I've just made this coffee, or I've just made this. Tell the person in the state of Connecticut what we are starting to make.
Right. So we have this Entrepreneur Innovation Award that's sponsored through CT Next. We have them quarterly across the state. We give out micro grants, so you can win up to $10,000. So it's a Shark Tank style pitch contest. And we've been doing this for little over a year now. And there's companies that are coming through there that the Tubi Guard, they were incubated out of Reset in Hartford. And essentially it's this contraption that, a stay-at-home mom made because her child was severely ill and needed a feeding tube, and sometimes the feeding tube would not stay intact. So she created this mechanism to keep that feeding tube intact, and that feeding tube has a lot of applications because there's a lot of people outside of young children who have different disabilities that need that could use this tubie guard, they're calling. It can go to nursing homes or whatever, but here you have this mom who created this,
I love it.
this contraption product, this medical device, I guess if you want to say, to help her daughter, but now she could potentially be starting a whole business off of it. And that's something that was incubated out of the Reset in Hartford, and they recently won a Entrepreneur Innovation Award. And then there was another company that recently came through CT Next Shoplandia, and essentially they're creating a new way to buy online via video production. So now you have the ability to actually see the product and view it through live modeling. So you can actually see the model modeling the shirt or the shoes, and you can actually make the purchase through that.
It's like magic.
Exactly. A lot of this stuff it's fascinating stuff. So those are just some of the examples that come to top of mind that recently we funded through the startup.
Everybody's looking for angel investors, people who will just give money because they think it's a great idea. And we have, Kickstarter and GoFundMe and all of that. Where does the state go to find their angel investors to get some of these folks going?
Sure. So, we at CI, we're investors, so we've built up a lot of connections with people, and we work closely with the Angel Investor Forum here in Connecticut, which is a group of angels that are based here in Connecticut. We work very closely with them. And also Golden Seeds, we have, we're out, always making presentations about what we do. So we're always connecting with folks and bringing them into our network. So a part of, when we have pitch contests, we're inviting angels into the room so they have first view at what's happening and if something interests them.
Is this the contest that you talked about in April, that competition? How does that work?
So the Entrepreneur Innovation Award, that's something that we've been doing a little over a year. That's a part of CT Next. The Venture Clash, which is a new initiative.
Tell me all about it. I want to know about this.
So this is a brand spanking new initiative that we're launching in April. And essentially this is a global venture challenge. So a lot of the stuff that I talked about earlier was really focused on Connecticut companies, but we also, reach out to Boston, New York, and try to get companies to come to Connecticut. But this is really amplifying that effort on a global scale. So we're going out globally, internationally, domestically, Connecticut companies. Everybody can apply to this global venture challenge, specifically focused in the fintech industry and digital health.
And what does that mean exactly? Boil this down for us.
So financial technology is a big up-and-coming market, and essentially you're looking at companies that are doing disruptive technologies in payments and wealth management, business processes of how businesses are doing transactions or what have you. And then digital health IT, you're looking at wearable devices, wellness programs, and how you're tracking patient engagement and outcomes. And so technologies that evolve around those type of avenues.
If somebody is listening to our chat right now and says, boy, that sounds like me, how do they get to you? How do they find you so that they can maybe get some cash and keep going?
Sure. So, we have a robust website, so www.connecticutinnovations.com. I'm there. There's a whole host of people that our emails are there. We have a live chat intake person. So when you call our company, she's our intake coordinator, but actually online. So when someone visits our website, there's a live chat mechanism where they can ask a question. So if they're navigating through our website and they have a question on this program, oh, I see the pre-seed fund. Do I qualify for this?
So you can walk them through it.
Exactly, and they can type in a question and she could type back, Tamara Davis, she's awesome.
And if you guys can't help the person who's started to make this or a widget, you can get them to people
Absolutely.
who can help them?
Absolutely, because our space, you know, there's the Department of Economic and Community Development, which is the broad, you know, state economic development agency where Commissioner Smith is responsible for, you know, setting that policy and strategy for the state. And CI is one part of that puzzle, but we're sister agencies and we work collaboratively all the time. So if you come in our front door, we do a warm handoff to whether it's DECD or the Connecticut SBDC that has 11 or so advisors across the state that offer free business advisement. We are doing that warm handoffing, ensuring that you get to the right person that can help you.
Stacking up against the other New England states and New York, how are we doing and what do you see down the road for Connecticut? Do we have some ways to go?
I mean, I think that, you know, we were kind of late to the party, so to speak, so we are playing catch up to us a certain extent. But, you know, Connecticut is Connecticut. It's not New York. It's not Boston. We are Connecticut. We have very unique, stellar qualities that we have to do our best to continue to amplify. It's a great quality of life. It's the cost of living is cheaper. Taxes are cheaper, especially if you want to be on the Northeast and then on the East Coast. So we have to really bolster up our efforts to really amplify who Connecticut is. And a part of this Global Venture Challenge that I talk about, Venture Clash, that is one way of us kind of tooting our horn and telling the world, like, hey, you know, if you're starting a company, growing a company, Connecticut is a place and we have a rich, robust ecosystem of resources to support you.
What do you expect that's going to come out of Venture Clash? Or do you not even know? I mean, this is brand new.
This is brand new. It's a pilot year, so this is a test year for us. We view ourselves as a startup as well, so we're constantly evolving, bringing on new ideas, and you know, we have that flexibility to do that. And you know, ultimately through the process, we hope to dwindle down all the applications to 10 companies that will culminate in an event on October 20th in New Haven at Yale, and it will be a pitch style event. So these 10 companies will do a live pitch to an expert panel of judges that would include top VC firms, our own representatives from CI, and other fintech and digital health experts.
As a young person, where do you see this state and doing the work that you're doing? Where do you see us in 5 years? Hope springs eternal. What do you see happening?
I see Connecticut as a very vibrant city. We have awesome cities here that are, you know, moving ahead. And I think that once we really start to springboard our cities like New Haven, right? They are prime for more investment coming in.
Well, a lot of the work is being done down here. You know, young people are slugging it out and trying to figure out where to head. They're not working for the guy, they're working for themselves. So they're making something or they're developing software. So there's this, I like to call it kind of an earthquake down here all over the state and all of these different incubators and ecosystems, as you put it, and they're trying to build things. And I see it kind of coming to the top now after working for free for a long time, just going, well, if I can get this manpower and if I can get this manpower, I can build this. But I think, you know, in my travels and what I see with young people, they're really slugging it out. So we're going to get somewhere in 5 years?
I definitely see that happening. There's a lot of resources here. We're seeing more young people engaged in the ecosystem. There's, you know, I go out nationally and speak. You know,
so what do you see around the country?
And everywhere we go, and my colleagues, we all come back and talk about our experiences at this conference, or we got to, you know, were panelists on this panel and talked about all the things that Connecticut is doing. And everyone's always shocked and surprised, wow, Connecticut has a lot of resources.
It's like, hello, we're Connecticut.
Right, so we are on the mark. We are on the mark. We are doing all the right things. And I think it's just, again, we're playing a little catch up. So there's a lot of cities that started a lot of work before us. And, you know, in 2011, Governor Malloy made a very sharp commitment to this work, and it's really starting to pay off 3 years later. So we have to keep doing more of it.
And I think we need to get the message out there as best we can about what the state is trying to do for these folks. So again, what is the website? Where do they go to say, hey, I've got this, I keep coming back to that word widget.
Right.
I want you to know about it. Where do they go?
Absolutely. www.connecticutinnovations.com. They will find a whole host of information there, but they will get to someone who can help them.
Glenn, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Here's to innovation.
Absolutely. Take care, Ann.
Made a trivial pursuit, spend one this in. Who is this girl? Spend all night kissing, and the bumper's right here. Then who else is missing? Got a little sidetracked to find my solution. Find the keys to the door, but it's also